So we're headed back to the Hillside Garden. It's been a while since I've even done a video. It's because I hadn't been there much this autumn at all, severely neglected. Getting the car, driving up there and see what we can do in a day, because that's really all the time I've got. You know, maybe a couple, 2 or 3 days like this over winter, I can get up there and do a bit of work. So I've really got to decide, you know, what tasks I can get done when I get up there. In the meantime, we're driving through the picturesque part of Novi Sad called Propagating, just beneath the fortress that you saw there in the background. And we're just going to head first, I think, to the nursery and pick up some trees. Always got to be planting things this time of year, renewing the stock, replacing trees that have died, replacing trees that are going to die in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So yeah, let's just drop off by the nursery and see what we can pick up. Okay, so this is all the decorative stuff here. We're not too interested in all this right now. We're going around the back where all the fruit trees and things are. There we go, there's all the trees. It's all bare root, of course. And loads of strawberries. Got plenty of those already. Yeah. Super. Oh, I've got the booty. The booty. I'll show you what I got in a minute. Yeah, so I got this in the car. Great. This is quite a tall tree. I'll tell you what it is straight away. Well, this long one with no branches is a persimmon. Vanilla, it's called, which I couldn't find much about, but I think it's an Asian variety, and it is slightly astringent. I mean, they're all slightly astringent, but I think it's a good eating one, and it's really tall. And they tell me to cut it down to a meter. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it as long as possible because I want it to be kind of decorative as well as, for eating. And I want a nice tree in my garden. And the other one is a peach gem. I struggle with peaches, but let's try another one. And there's a couple more things in the bag as well that I'll show you later. Let's get in the car and get up to the Hillside Garden now. Here we are at the house at the Hillside Garden. As I say, I haven't been for, weeks really, since September, and the kids went back to school and everything. I've only really been once or twice, certainly not to do any serious work. So, let's see what's been going on. Well, my summer house, my pavilion's still standing. That's good. It's looking pretty bleak now, as it does this time of year. Well, I'll go and have a look in a minute. Okay, so I think the first job is getting these bare root trees and things into the ground. You know, you don't want them bare root any longer than you can help it. And this peach tree, which is a royal gem, is going to go in a spot, hear me out on this, where I've had 2 peach trees in a row, 2 new bare root peach trees in a row, 2 years in a row, die on me. But I just don't feel like giving up, because there's nothing wrong with this spot. It's actually kind of this sort of swale that I've made, like a berm, and it's just downhill of it. Yeah, it's a little bit choked with other stuff growing and weeds and whatnot, but I don't think that's the problem. I think it's just been bad luck, to be honest. But I haven't had much luck with peaches, and this one was a red heaven, as have the other ones been that have failed. So this one now is going to be a royal gem. Let's see if that does any better. So I don't think I'll bore you with my digging and everything, but let's just get it in the ground. Okay, and that's pretty much it. The old one came out real easy. I just pulled it with my bare hands, and that was red. It says red heaven. And just dug a hole, little bit of compost inside, and a bit more on top as well as mulch, and job done. I don't like putting too much compost. One thing, I haven't got that much. For another thing, I'm sort of the school of thought that if it won't grow without babying and compost and fertilizer and everything, then it's not worth growing. If it grows by itself, and then I'm good. And the last two didn't grow by themselves, so maybe we're onto a pattern here. So another thing I bought that I didn't show you just now, what is this? Can you guess what it is? Look at that, it's leafing out already. It's still December. That's not great, but okay. That is currants. Got a red. I forget the variety of the red. There's a black here. That's Titania. I know that for a fact. And the one that's not labelled is a white. So I've got 2 or 3 of each kind. Black currants. Yeah, we haven't got too many black currants. We've got one lot growing by the compost, which is coming along, but not had much of a harvest so far. But these I want to plant here in the semi-shade of this apple tree. Okay, so I actually was going to be raspberries, and it still is going to be raspberries. The garden centre didn't have any right now. They said the ones they had weren't very good. They're waiting for new stock, so I'm going to have to come back and do the raspberries. But black currants will do for now. I was with my wife on a little holiday in Serbia, in the woods, somewhere in, I guess it was June or July this year, and we saw, and if I can find them, I'll put a picture up, just endless raspberries growing in the woods by the side of the road. And that's where the value of just observing things in nature comes in, because I realized what kind of environment it is that raspberries want. So they were growing next to a ditch, the drainage ditch by the side of the road. They're growing on the fringes of the woods where there's a little bit more light but not too much. And I thought, okay, so I have to recreate those conditions. I have to find somewhere in the garden with those kind of conditions. And so this summer I started piling up this scrap heap of wood and cuttings, and there's going to be more here as well, and more leaves and things added as well. And this is my ditch. Actually, I'm going to make a kind of a swale, because it's shallow enough and inclined to make another swale here. It's high time I made another swale. And I'm going to dig behind and just chuck the earth on top. I'll see if I'll do that off camera. And then I'm going to plant the black currants, or I'll do the black currants first. I'm going to plant them this side, and they're going to end up in the kind of shady kind of spot that I saw the raspberries growing too. And eventually I'm going to have raspberries here as well. I'm going to put a few black currants here, possibly another few, we'll see, around here somewhere. So they're in semi-shade. Black currants are shade tolerant, and that's obviously their kind of natural environment as well. And hoping for a kind of understory there of black currants. I've had failure in the past trying to get something growing underneath this tree, but I think part of the problem was it is lack of water. Maybe I wasn't quite planting the right sort of plants. It's really got to be shade-loving plants in a context like that. There's also no swale, nothing to kind of trap water and for these plants to sort of live behind. Whereas I think this heap of waste wood and cuttings and everything, and also a little bit of a ditch that side, are really going to help water retention in this area. So I'm just going to dot a few of those around, and then I'll get back to you. And that's one black currant in the ground, just below no, it's not a graft, is it? I mean, I doubt those are grafted, but anyway, just below where that sort of leaders come out from. They told me in the place that you're supposed to cut them right back or almost down. I don't know, I always feel sorry to do that. I'll just leave it and let it take its natural course, unless somebody can tell me otherwise. So this is a blackcurrant kind of to the west of this tree, so this is going to get the most sun. Then I'm going to do another one to the kind of east to get the sort of setting sun. I'm just going to dot them around and just give them a chance. Really, basically, what I'm trying to do is replace all this natural, weeds, naturally occurring vegetation with something I want, right? I've left this kind of fallow for a few years really to do its thing, and now I think it's time to put in something that I want as an understory to this apple tree, which frankly is not a very good apple tree, but it's certainly got lots of little apples that fall down all the time and feed the soil, and it's something's growing, and at some point I'm going to have to replace it sooner rather than later, I think. But for now it gets black currants as friends, so I think I'm going to do the rest now. Okay, so I've got these black currants in more to the sort of west side of this tree now, so they get a bit of afternoon sun, I guess. Watch out for this. I've got to mark this. It's a pawpaw. It's doing quite nicely. Last year they just take so long to grow though, it's very slow, but it's doing fine. Gotta make sure not to tread on that. Just stuck in the other black here. This one's looking very vigorous. It's the one that wants the bud already. I mean, I could almost cut that back here somewhere and stick it in the ground somewhere else, and probably it would take root. There's a red and there's a white. Yeah, I'm just kind of bunching them together. I don't mind having a little copse of black currants here, and probably they won't all succeed, or they won't be equally successful, so I'm just more sort of hedging my bets really. We'll put something else in here as well at some point. I'm planning to, as this sort of understory under all these trees, I'm planning to do some herbal stuff as well, maybe especially sage, because it does so well here, and some other perennials like that, so we'll see. But in the meantime, I've got to go and plant the rest of these currants under some other tree. Let's see where we're going to put them. Okay, so I stuck another black in there and another red there. So the red is right to the west, pretty much shaded. This is going to get a bit of sun the first few years until this chestnut branches out a bit, and then it's going to be practically full shade until the evening. And I dug a little bit of I hesitate to call it a swale, but if you see, the land here goes down pretty flat. I don't need to do any special measuring to work out that this is on contour roughly. It's just this is to try and trap a little bit of water. I just dig these when I can. I'll expand it if I can. If I don't, well, I won't. But this is just a little bit of help for this downslope. There's a pawpaw there. You can barely see. It's tiny. So again, this will be kind of supporting the pawpaw hopefully, but the swale will hopefully be supporting the pawpaw a little bit as well. There's another, that's the red one I showed you, and there's another pawpaw just around there somewhere. I unfortunately I can't dig it any deeper. Maybe this bit I can, but by the chestnut tree I should have done it before, because now I'm going to be messing with the roots of the chestnut, and I don't want to damage it because it's growing really nicely. But I think it's still better than nothing. I'll probably pile some more material there, which will help, and hopefully that will help support the chestnut tree a little bit as well, because they do need water, and they're not going to find much underground here, which might be the reason we don't get decent chestnuts. That's another story. But now I'm going to see if I can find some more material to just pile up on these swales stroke hugel mounds, or whatever you want to call them, and try and, I think I'm done here. Get some of this wood and pile up this so-called swale a bit, so as well as piling up the earth, we're just basically just chucking, and I'll kind of sort it out, pile it up on the berm a bit. But I'm just getting all these cuttings. We've got quite a lot of prunings. We cut down a cherry tree over summer, and someone might burn all that. I mean, what do you call it? Charcoal, not charcoal, what's it called? The stuff all the permaculture people make is great, but I haven't got time for burning wood into oh god, what's it called? Anyway, so but at least I'm chucking it back into the landscape. I'm not like taking it for the municipal trash collectors to take away. Like, this is my wood from my land. I want it back in the land. I want it helping to feed the land. So I'm going to just sort of lay all that in there, pile it up on the berm a bit, and it's all going to rot down, and it's going to help trap the water and stop it going down the hill, and also absorb some water as well, and just keep things wetter, moister for the plants that are downhill. Okay, after a bit more work, this is what I actually did in the end, was get most of the junk, the organic material, out of the ditch and just dig it out a bit more and pile the earth on top, which is going to help it break down and just generally make it more sturdy and provide some shade for that black currant there. And I did the other side as well. This is what I forgot I was going to do, was actually dig a ditch out here as well, you know, a kind of swale, and toss all the earth on top of that slash pile. So that now is really turning into a nice pile of organic material. Obviously it's going to take time to break down, but I think that's just how things work in nature as well. I don't think we have to worry about, you know, stealing nitrogen or even possible negative consequences of this kind of thing being in there. That's a tuya, you know, it's some sort of cedar. It's kind of allelopathic, so it can stunt the growth of other plants. But, you know, all piled up like that under earth, it's going to gradually rot down, become very fertile, and I think it's going to also serve the purpose of a swale in trapping moisture and hopefully feeding things downhill. So, you know, this is taking me maybe half an hour or less, and it's probably all I'm going to have time to do this winter as far as, you know, shaping this part of the garden. So, you know, as far as any major work goes anyway. So, you know, I just have to grab time to do these things and you know, do the best I can. Obviously this one, actually I didn't realize it's gone round like this. It should be, that's definitely not on contour, but in a way it doesn't matter, because I'm not looking to, like, these are never going to fill up, right? This is what you have to understand. I don't care how torrential the rain, that swale is never filling up on this land. This soil does not, it instantly drains away. So it's not like I'm trying to create a proper swale across here that's going to hold water and blah blah. No, it's just going to run down and soak off. So yeah, it would be better if it was perpendicular to the slope, but it's not the end of the world. Maybe I'll just straighten that out a bit, but it's kind of it's more softer feature anyway, as we come down here, you know, it sort of curves around. Anyway, it'll be fine when it's all grown over. Like I say, I haven't got time to do things perfectly, so it's just fortunate I even get time to do it at all. So yeah, we're doing the best we can, and we'll see over the years how far we get. The light's fading fast already. Crazy this time of year. And I've done one more job, which is plant this persimmon tree here. I haven't really shortened it at all. I want the height, really. I want a nice tall tree there. We'll see, maybe we can cut it back a bit if it gets out of hand, but this is going to be on our slope here. Oh, well, my Mediterranean slope. Not that persimmon is a Mediterranean tree in any way, but and it's not going to block the view from our summer house, from our pavilion, too much. And I've just got one more job really that I think I can at least make a start on, and that's dealing with this fig tree, because it's got completely out of hand. I think I'm going to cut off all these small branches and just leave, well, maybe a few of the big central ones. It's going to be I've really got to cut it back. So let's see what I can get done. I don't have a chainsaw, so it's all going to be hand saw, but let's see. Well, it's 45 minutes of work, and I've actually managed to really thin it out a lot, especially this middle bit. I've still got a bit to do over here, so it's a bit sort of thicker there, and there's branches going every which way, but this is a vast improvement. I mean, you can see how much material I've cut off. Absolutely loads. I don't know what I'm going to do with all that. More swales, more berms, I guess. And I've got a few of these green cuttings left, and I'm going to go down the bottom of the garden and do something I'll probably regret. Okay, so I've got these greenwood fig shoots that I've cut off, cuttings, and I've cut them off at an angle, and I'm just going to go along this. You can't really see it very well now this berm that I made, and I'm just going to stick them all along here, because I'm trying to create some sort of green fence along here. And it's I tried with elderberry last year, and I'm still holding out for the elderberry, which is largely lost in all this grass, but it doesn't seem to be doing very well. So why not plant something that I know is going to grow? These figs are very prolific, and generally, I don't know, out of these 10 or so cuttings, at least some will take root. And I'll have a natural fence along here, along the boundary, the neighbour's boundary, made of figs, and maybe I'll even do some along that boundary. I still want to do elder, but this is like insurance, so I'm just going to stick them in. I mean, they could just get out of hand, but I'd always rather have more growing than less. I think generally, you know, if you want a tree, then plant, you know, 5 trees, and then maybe one will succeed and one will take off, and you cut the rest back. Or especially things like this that are prolific, well, it's all green mass at the end of the day, so I'm happy. So I'm just going to go along here. Where shall I start? I think I'll even start like here. I'm just going to jam them in the ground, and generally fig is pretty prolific at rooting like that. Oh, yes, I didn't do it very straight. Oh, here we are. Let's just jam that in as deep. This is the thing, right now we're planting these trees, the ground's really wet. We've had a fair amount of rain. It's not hard, it's not frozen at all. I can just do this sort of thing. So I'll shove one in there. I'm just going to do them everywhere, and you know, maybe some of it will take. I'll be back in a minute when I've done the rest of these. Okay, so I've done a bunch of those. I can't even probably find them now along this neighbour's boundary, along this kind of berm thing I have going down here. And hey, if I get 1, 2, 3 fig trees popping up here, that'll be great. And if I get too many, I'll cut some back. If I don't get enough, well, I'm also hoping for the elderberry to do its thing, and I'm also going to hopefully put some hazelnuts in there, because I've got a bunch of suckers coming off the main hazelnut plant, so I think I'm going to put some of those in along there as well. So I just want plenty growing along there, and you know, the more you cover your bets, and it doesn't cost anything, it's just cuttings, you're just shoving them in the ground, and you know, free plants is what we're always talking about, isn't it? You know, the trees I bought today, including this peach, let's just go back to it. So this peach, I haven't pruned it yet. I'm just holding off on that. I'll do it another time. I'm going to prune all the trees another time. But this peach, that was about €4 or €5. The persimmon was the most expensive thing. That's like about €15, and the black currants I planted over there, they're about €2 a piece. So all the trees I got were probably like today €40, which is, you know, quite a lot, and especially if something fails and so on. And of course we want to save money, and you know, propagating stuff ourselves is always going to be the way forward. I'm going to buy things to get a head start if I don't want to wait like 10 years for something to grow. But you know, this is one way, just sticking these, there's one there, sticking these figs in the ground is a way to get free trees, and I hope they'll do something for me. Okay, I mentioned hazelnuts, and this is probably the last thing I'm going to try and do today because it's getting dark. This hazelnut put out all these suckers last year, and there's a shoe down here. That's my kid's shoe, honestly. He is hopeless. I mean that in the nicest possible way. These suckers come out, and I left them because I thought I might try and transplant some this winter, and now it's the winter, so it's time to transplant them. Now these, I could try just cutting them and sticking in the ground, but I haven't had great success rate with that, or the jury's still out on that. So it'd be better to sort of dig around here and try and get a clump of roots, and I've done that before with success. Managed to get out some roots, plant the whole thing, and it's come up nicely. Now this hazelnut is not especially productive. I mean, hazelnuts here aren't generally, because they need a lot of water, and anyway the squirrels steal it all. But it's got very nice red leaves, so I want to put it down there by where I put those figs as well, and kind of intersperse that with some nice red leaved hazelnuts. So I'm going to have a try at cutting and digging some of this out, and we'll see how I get on. Okay, so what I try and do is obviously from this sucker there's a runner going back to the main tree, and if I can just cut it, there'll be probably enough roots on this to be viable. So I can, yes, I can feel it. You can see this one moving. Right, there we go. That, I think that's enough root on there. I'll snip the top of this off to lighten the load. I think there'll be enough root for this to grow. I wonder if that was its root as well. I think I might have cut that off in an earlier attempt. See, again, this one I didn't get. So you've got to get these ones that are further away, really. See, you start pulling it up and you realise it goes all the way back to the tree, and I can feel the runner here. So let's try and do that one. Is that the runner? I should just try and cut it, actually. Try and cut it. Not good to use your snippers on soily, dirty stuff, because, okay, let's just try and, what's that, just some, this vine, or violet, or whatever it is. Don't think that's too bad either. There's some roots on there, could be enough. I've certainly done it like that before. I planted with this minimal amount of roots, snip the top off to, unburden the plant, and it's grown. I've got one or two like that behind my compost pile, which I won't show you now, but they've been growing for a couple of years now, and they're doing very well. There's tons more, but you know what, with this fading light, I might have to settle for this. Now, this one, do I try? No, I don't think I can get two plants out of that. I think that's just going to have to be one plant, because I don't want to try splitting it anymore. Okay, I got two plants. I got to go and plant those near where I did the figs as well. So let's get down there, and yeah, my blown over grapes. Yeah, I mean, got to look in my book and just see which of these are actually viable anymore. I mean, which ones I want to even bother keeping anymore. And you can see a load of fallen up there. I know for a fact those up there are pretty bad, so they might be coming out. So I think I'm done with grape vineyards. You might think it's a shame, but it's not really. Everyone's got a vineyard just because that's what you do. But the grapes are really hard to grow, honestly, in Europe without chemicals. I know in America they're not so susceptible to disease. In Europe they're susceptible to all kinds of things, and you just have to spray them with something, and I don't feel like it. And you have to prune them, I have to do all sorts. There's my poor walnut tree. Got to think of what we're going to do with that as well this year. Going to just see if it leaves out this year, if it's dead, that top part. And probably have to just cut it off. Real shame that was our best walnut tree. But back to here, and just going to stick those hazels in the ground. There's one of the figs there, and there's another fig there. So I'm just going to stick the hazels in between several of these figs here. There we go, got it in the hole, and just put some soil on, and that's it. I mean, if I had more time to, cut the grass around here, that's the other one. I'll get that out of the way. Cut the grass, I'll just get the grass out of the way. I mean, I'd mulch around a little bit, I'd put some compost. I just don't have time. I just do not have time. If I was living on this land, it would probably be different. I probably still wouldn't have time, but I'd be able to do a little bit every day. This way, it's like a few times a year during the winter, not a year, but during the winter, a few times I get to come down here and do this sort of thing. And propagation's a big deal. Obviously, propagation is much better to do in winter when plants are dormant. And actually, I'll do what I said I was going to do and just snip the top off this, because that top bit's looking a bit, well, it's all right, but you want it to sort of, well, actually, you know what? There's this down here which I don't think I want, and yeah, let's just get rid of the let's just get rid of the very top there, because then it can decide which branches it wants to put out. Okay, and I get this one. Where is it? I've lost it now in the grass, but here we go. And I'm going to go and plant this as well. And that one's in. This one I had two shoots, and I'll just leave both for now, and then we'll see if they both come up or if one does better than the other, and we'll just cut one off. So that's that. Just one more thing to do. Let's go and put some more of those fig shoots in, fig cuttings in the other berm over there. Just pushing these in as far as I can along this, quite close to the neighbour's boundary. It's dark, so the camera's struggling. So I can just get, some greenery along here as a kind of natural boundary. Again, I wanted elder. Elder hasn't worked so far. We'll see, maybe it will, but we'll get these figs in, and I think we're kind of done for the day. Oh yes, one more thing. There's always one more thing when I come up here. Never enough time to get stuff done, especially before dark on a winter's day like this. This is a pistachio I planted up here by the house because I wasn't sure if it was going to take, but it seems to have taken. It leafed out this year, so I'm going to put it down in more towards the food forest now before it gets too developed, and I'm just going to transport it bodily like that. And I've stuck it in the ground here. It's pretty pathetic, but it did actually leaf last year and a few little branches there, so it's going to be a very long time before we see any pistachios if that does grow. I'm planting it next to this peach that I just did. I want to keep them to keep each other company. Yes, this is much too close as far as conventional wisdom goes, but we're not about conventional wisdom here. Yeah, pistachio I think grows best in sort of Iran, Turkey and these kind of places, but more Middle Eastern climate, but they can take frost. They like poor soil we've got. They don't need too much water, so I'm thinking, yeah, let's give pistachio a try. I've got another one further down over there somewhere, a bit too close to the walnut maybe, but that's at least showing signs of life still. So another addition to the food forest right next to this this wild rose, and there's a actually this one I neglected last year. There's another sea berry in there. Well, we'll see how that one does next year. I think I must have forgotten about that one. It got overgrown there a little bit, but I think it will be okay. Sea berry's supposed to be pretty pioneering. So okay, now I really think that's it, and I need to go home because as I said, there's always things I can do here, but the problem is always time, especially in winter. We're not living here, got a full-time job, and it's just a case of coming here when I can and just doing the few jobs I can to sort of stop this turning into a complete jungle. Well, turning into a jungle is not the problem, but what we're trying to do here really is grow a manageable jungle, or a managed jungle that actually grows the things I want, not the weeds so much, unless they're actually edible, but the things I plant. So it's really what I'm doing is gradually trying to replace the jungle with things I want to eat and my family, of course, and it's taking time, but I'm just going to keep plugging at it. Now I think we'll call it a day there as far as the video is concerned, but the next video probably is going to be in New Year. I am going to do some smoking here, sausages or bacon, I haven't decided yet, and also we're going to have to do some pruning of the fruit trees, and I'm going to have to be collecting a lot of scions because I'm planning to do some serious grafting in the spring. So I think that's going to be the next video, but thanks for coming along for the ride in a day in the life of the Hillside Gardener. That's me, Mark. See you next time.